Hello everybody and welcome back to Herbies Garage. Today I'm working on my 2023 Lifan KPM 200 and I'm putting on a KPR 200 gauge assembly. In the last video I was showing you how I wired up a couple of extensions because the wiring is going to be a little bit too short. And then I made a video about installing these. I made me a bracket that I thought was going to work out great, and I was going to mount it up here. And the gauges, everything fit perfectly. I did a good job, I thought, making the bracket. I mean, it worked well. But the problem I have is this key switch. Now, I can move the key switch up here next to the gauge cluster and have it up here with it, which would be ideal, actually. But there's two problems with that. Number one, aesthetically, it doesn't look the best being up that high. It looks better down low. And the other thing is, if you put that key switch up here, it's going to be exposed and you might be able to have somebody steal your bike, might hot wire it. So you would have to cover it, and that's just a lot of extra work. So what I decided to do is I decided to move the gauge cluster down here about even with the top of the handlebars, maybe a little bit below. But now I can access my key and I can turn the key on and off with it. So I don't have to mess with that. So I'll show you the bracket that I put on it, and I'll leave a link in the description for the bracket, and I'll show you how I installed it. Okay, this is the headlight bucket, the back of it, and here's the headlight right here, and it bolts onto that. And as you can see on the top of here, it has two bolts. It has two on the bottom as well that hold this on to the bike. Well, what I did was I took these two bolts out, and I have these brackets. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description for it if you want to get these. And I put them in here and bolted it in. I didn't do anything special. And I just took a pair of pliers and I bent it and twisted it and everything until it lined up with the studs for the speedometer or for the gauge cluster. I did the same thing on both sides, and it's good and secure. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And I put a spacer in there and a couple washers, and I just tightened it all down with the nut. So I think it looks pretty good. It's attached very well. I don't think I'll have a problem. So the next thing I need to do is I need to put the headlight on. And I also routed the wires for this cluster behind this rear housing for the headlight, this bucket, and I ran it down with the other wires that are going through there. So it's all together and it looks neat. So let's go ahead and put this headlight on. Okay, these wires on this headlight have to really go up in the top of this bucket up here so that this back of this headlight itself won't be pushing on the wires, because it makes it really difficult to get in if you're fighting those wires the whole time. Alright, before I tighten these all up, I need to put these... Alright, before I tighten these all up, I need to put these plastic pop pins in the side. Those are really easy to put in. Just like so. Now that we got all the screws started, we'll go ahead and tighten these all down. Now there's a side view of it. It's not the prettiest thing the way it looks like that, but I plan on putting this windshield on it, and I'll have to figure out how I'm going to mount this on here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the handlebar all the way to the right because that's going to stretch the wires the longest. Here's the wires here. I got plenty of length going to this direction, but when I turn it all the way that way, that's going to pull the wires as far as they're going to be pulled. As you can see, it's going to be short. There's no way that's going to reach. It's at least 8 inches short. Now I made mine way too long, but I wanted to make sure they were long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and hook these up, and I'm going to get ready to fasten these to the bike. And you can't mix them up. It's got to be easy with these. Make sure that they go in good. You don't want to force them in because then you'll end up bending pins, and then you'll have a real issue. Okay, those two big plugs are plugged in, and now the little one. You got to make sure you get the right little one on the bike, because the yellow and the brown and black off of the bike is the speed sensor, and this is the speed sensor wire for the gauge cluster. And these two wires hanging out, there's a couple over here too that I went ahead and taped up. There's an orange and a green underneath here. So those are turn signal wires, extra, that we don't need, but we'll keep them on there just in case. Now we'll just tie this stuff up. I gotta get this out because that's going to be for the fuel tank. I think what we'll do is we'll start here in the front, and we'll just zip tie these to the other harness. Make this look nice and pretty. Got to make sure we have enough movement. It's not going to cause a problem. Got to make sure you got plenty of wire up in here. You don't want that pulling tight on it. Okay, I'll put one more right here. I'm going to cut the tails off. You always want to cut the tails off flush to make it look better. Put that down towards the bottom. Put that towards the inside. Like that. So you don't get cut when you start messing with the wires, because sometimes those plastic zip ties will cut you. Okay, so then we'll work our way back. There we go. I think that looks like a pretty good job. Move the handlebar stop to stop and see, make sure there's no wires that's going to be dragging or rubbing or anything. I think that's going to be just fine. And we'll get our fuel tank on and all of our panels, and we'll be ready to go. Go ahead and peel these stickers off now and get a full effect of what it looks like. Pull these protective stickers off. All right. Now let's move this thing out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on. Looks like everything's working. The reason that's doing that with the fuel is because the gas tank's not on and it's not connected. Once it's connected, it'll show the proper level. So it looks like everything's working. I'm gonna go ahead and put the gas tank on and side panels and probably attach the windshield on it. And the next video, I'll be doing a riding video, and you'll see what it looks like complete, and you'll see what it looks like functioning. And I'll make sure that that shift light, that little red shift light up here, works properly too. Hopefully it'll work. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you coming along, and I'll see you on the next one.